Hello, ladies and gents. Ancient architects presented his amazing hypothesis that people leaving Egypt went to found a state in northern Mesopotamia. People who built ziggurats, implying they first built ziggurats in Egypt, and the base of the bent pyramid may have been one of them, which was then filled in by people who tried to make it smooth. This is a response video, 3 additional pieces of evidence backing this up. And then we might make a video, 3 reasons why he might be wrong. I do not know the answer myself, but I would tend towards slightly disagreeing with his ziggurat idea, while agreeing that the pyramids are indeed conversions. But I might be splitting hairs with that one because the ziggurat idea is a pretty good theory. Heck, even common sense tells us these Egyptian pyramids are too big for one generation of builders, so they are at least conversions. I think Ancient is a very good researcher, and he's long been a viewer of yours truly as well. Now, given his ziggurat theory, ancient architects would therefore, I suppose, disagree with the current popular theory of Kurt Mendelssohn that a simultaneous collapse, possibly of the Meidum Pyramid during the construction of the bent pyramid, triggered the desire to change the angle of the bent pyramid while that was being built. A very popular idea in the 1970s and stated in many documentaries. Now, ancient architects suggested that the bent pyramid base platform once constituted a kind of ziggurat-like structure, and the upper levels were then filled in, which brings us to evidence number 1 in the form of the collapsed Meidum Pyramid, which ancient architects suggests was also a ziggurat, along with the coloured Inca-like base of the Menkaure pyramid. Here, the collapsed Meidum Pyramid was indeed a conversion. The 2 sub-pieces of evidence which will be presented: 1, there are finished casing stones on the bottom of the Meidum Pyramid, noted by Mendelssohn, like on the Menkaure Pyramid, implying it may too have been a platform, though Kurt Mendelssohn takes this as evidence that it collapsed during actual construction. And 2, the way it is built shows bits were added haphazardly in variance to the original design. I base this on the fact that although the pyramid itself is built of buttressed layers, some of which have collapsed, leaving just the internal layers showing, these are all built on bedrock. Not so with the casing stones, which were built on sand alone. Incredible! Since no one starts out to build a pyramid on sand, the only conceivable idea could be that this is indeed a conversion. I wrote in my book on this subject that a cult of pyramid smoothers entered Egypt and started converting all the pyramids, because huge mounds of Eurasia are indeed smooth, not stepped. In previous videos, I suggested these internal pyramids, the pyramids inside, were Mayan-like step pyramids based on 2 evidences. 1, the buttressed layer structure resembles the pyramid of Kukulkan, and 2, the lighthouse of Alexandria had a very suspicious base which reminds me of the Tikal pyramids. Indeed, we therefore possibly have several different pyramid styles in the Mayan world alone, which are reflected in Egypt. Amazing! The sheer steepness of the Tikal pyramids reminds me of the bent pyramid, and of course these look a lot like ziggurats themselves, I suppose. Evidence number 2. Ziggurats look very Egyptian. Years ago in my book on the subject, I immediately debunked the ridiculous idea, still pushed today, of the Zoser pyramid being mastabas stacked together. It is really so-called accretion layers. A better term is buttressed layers stacked together like a tower, lying on each other, conceived to be built over a singular, much older, large mastaba. No layering at all. Archaeologists can't seem to get anything right sometimes, which leads people to distrust them. Even the term accretion layer is suspect, because the term accretion usually implies a very gradual build-up, such as building up a collection, the way mud and clay layers were continually added by succeeding generations to the Pyramid of the Sun, but all excavated away centuries ago by early archaeologists. The Giza pyramids are built in the same way, buttressed. The Tower of Babel's story might have been inspired by the Giza pyramids. A Roman-era town near Giza was actually called Babylon, as these were the tallest buildings on the planet so far. However, in the case of Ziggurats, they actually do look like Egyptian mastabas of the First Dynasty era stacked together. The epic tomb 3504 at Abydos, excavated by Walter Emery, First Dynasty, looks just like the base of a ziggurat, ziggurats being much wider than their depth, as in the case of mastabas, and as Ancient points out, have the palace-style recessed alcoves along their outer surface, just like the ziggurats. Mastaba 3504, built possibly for King Jet, though we don't know for sure, is also very ziggurat-like in terms of its size at 56.45 meters, pretty close to the ziggurat at which is around 50 meters. However, it is narrower than the ziggurat at at only 25.45 meters wide, whereas is 45 meters wide. Ziggurats are oblongs. This mastaba is more clearly a rectangle. Evidence number 3 that ancient architects is correct. Ziggurats appear to be literally stacked Egyptian-style mastabas. Egypt seems necessary for the evolution of the ziggurat in the first place. What am I saying? I think ancient is quite correct here. I do like ancient architects' idea of the Egyptians indeed travelling out towards Mesopotamia. They might have then seen their journey back towards Egypt later on, possibly under Abraham, maybe in the Third Dynasty, as coming home. Who knows? Ziggurats look like stacked mastabas, and in Egypt you can see them as singular, which might imply they were invented in Egypt. The Egyptian mastaba is a private affair. People would enter yearly to have dinner with the dead, who resided down a shaft. There was also a symbolic world mound inside mastabas, representing the center of the earth, I believe. Since the mastabas could also be very large, however, someone in Mesopotamia possibly had the bright idea, hang on a second, since the mastaba is the biggest thing around, and it has a symbolic world mound inside, it's basically already a pyramid, so let's put a temple on top of this, or better yet, another layer, and then a temple, and attach a staircase, and voila, a ziggurat. Therefore, what is found in Egypt necessarily seems to be a precursor in evolution to the ziggurat. So why not also mastabas, on a larger epic scale, like the base of the Bent Pyramid, the base of the Menkaure Pyramid also. Not a bad idea.